Driving along Nyarushangi Road in Kisizi, Rubavu constituency, Rukungiri district, the buzzing sound of a saw machine on the roadside catches our attention. We pull over. Here, trees are bleeding. It is a painful death as the sharp-toothed blade cuts through the thick carbon this tree has sucked out of Mother Earth for over 20 years. In Rukungiri district, up to 95% of the population use wood biomass as the primary source of fuel. According to Uganda Bureau of Statistics, the national total demand for wood fuel in 2019 was at 53.1 million metric tons. This accounts for 88% of all energy needs in Uganda. We are on a fact-finding mission to ascertain the extent of firewood use in this sub-county, and this becomes our first stop. It's obvious, eucalyptus tree farming is the major economic activity in this sub-county. The call to plant trees has been loud and clear, but the call to keep these trees alive is still unclear. We visit Sis Hospital in Nyarushangi sub-county. This is the district's biggest and privately owned hospital. It is a few meters from where the brutal ending of trees happens. Despite being the district's largest hospital, their main source of fuel is firewood, though a slightly advanced stove is used here. It's lunchtime. We enjoy nicely steamed matoke with the hospital staff. We then proceed to the municipality, in particular Maya village in Western Division. It is 3 p.m. and there is no one at home. We find a lady collecting some freshly grown greens, commonly known as dodo, who we later find out she is the mother of the home. Her 3 children are down in the forest collecting some firewood to prepare the first meal of the day. I join the family in the smoke-filled kitchen to help in the preparation of the meal. Here, planting a tree is not a problem. Grooming it for 10 years is not a problem. Even cutting it down and burning it is still not a problem. The problem is the people involved in burning this firewood are not aware of the danger caused by this smoke. Besides it being a problem in the eyes, it is also a danger to the climate. But it is the order of the day here. Cooking, one has to use firewood in this smoke-filled kitchen.
Air pollution kills millions of populations in the world, and Uganda inclusive. So that's the impact, and that's why we have to move away from using the 3 stones for cooking.
Still in Rukungiri municipality, we met this teenage girl splitting firewood. This is a skill not many have, especially at this age. We visit her kitchen. Looking at the black carbon on the kitchen wall, we ask if she understands the extent of damage caused by firewood smoke.
Smoke from firewood affect climate changes, but for us we cannot afford to use electricity, so we have to use firewood.
What we find out? Some know the dangers, but majority don't even care.
Gasi ninga shukukazi wenu tukozese nku ahabo kubanzo tukubasa tukozese nku kambe ndakutuma kuni zishishe nankeji ntebereza ye nankeji yobwiye.
To Rukungiri District Environment Officer Laban, the district tries to implement the set policies and laws on climate change, but it is hard to limit firewood use.
If communities come to appreciate that the green cover is very important, and they act as carbon sinks which help in carbon sequestration, as they help in terms of absorbing that carbon dioxide, which in turn will lead to global warming, hence climate change. I think they will come to appreciate nature and continue protecting it.
Makerere University researcher Dr. David Were weighs in on this paradox.
The more trees we cut, then the more we prevent the capacity of the trees to absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. But now when we burn the trees, then we release the stored carbon to the atmosphere's carbon dioxide. Hence, contributing to climate change.
The district is now encouraging communities to use LPG gas, solar, biogas. But is this even possible?
The government can now change the policy of how to, to change the energy policy, maybe in the use of biomass, to providing maybe subsidies. This one will motivate the people to move away from biomass.
According to a 2019 wood fuels research by World Bank, wood fuel, which includes charcoal and firewood, makes such a massive contribution to the country's revenue, and substituting it with other forms of energy could have big implications on Uganda's foreign exchange reserves. 87% of fuel wood in Uganda is consumed by households, while 8% is consumed by industry, and the commercial sector consumes only 5%, according to Uganda Bureau of Statistics, research done in 2018. The demand for this fuel in Uganda is projected to reach between 100 to 210 metric tons per year by 2040, down from 55 metric tons in 2019. In Mukono district, central Uganda, the once thick Maibira rainforest has completely changed over the years. Perhaps this can also be linked to the high demand of firewood and charcoal in Uganda.
We are now reviewing the National Forestry Policy of 2001, and we're also reviewing the National Forest and Tree Planting Act of 2002 to ensure that the use of charcoal is reduced and the use of firewoods is reduced.
Whereas the third National Development Plan on Climate Change Policy advocates for promotion of inclusive, climate resilient and low carbon emission development at all levels, there are no clear guidelines on control of firewood use.
The Climate Change Act does not go into the detail of describing who is allowed to use what, firewood or charcoal.
It should be known that increased wood burning emits carbon dioxide and other climate pollutants, including soot, carbon monoxide, and volatile organic compounds such as methane. These short-lived climate pollutants are responsible for about half. Also, soot from burning wood contains black carbon as a major component. This black carbon is the second largest contributor to global climate change. So how sustainable is this government strategy?
We have so many projects in pipelines and those ones which are being implemented to make Uganda adapt to the current situation of climate change.
Because trees can be replanted, wood burning has been described as renewable. For the new trees will eventually reabsorb the carbon that was emitted when their predecessors were burned.
So if we continue making that process of encouraging afforestation strategies and reforestation, we believe we shall achieve sustainable use of that resource.
But how sustainable is this? Must we create a problem to solve it? Even when government has put in place greenhouse gas inventory and monitoring equipment, there is no provision for data capture on how much firewood burning in Uganda is contributing to global warming.
The study which has been done is how forest can absorb that carbon dioxide released and store it. That study is there, but the amount which is stored in a year, at the moment I cannot quote it from the head.
It should be noted that Uganda committed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 20% in the year 2030. Meanwhile, the Director of Environment at the Ministry of Environment agrees that burning of wood releases carbon dioxide back in the air, and it is for this reason that government is now promoting energy-saving stoves that save up to 70% of the firewood intended to be burned.
We are training, especially women, to construct the energy-saving stove, from the simplest to the more complicated, which also uses solar.
A study published in Nature's Scientific Reports by Norwegian University of Science and Technology reveals that climate warming effects of black carbon amount to 1.6 billion tons of carbon dioxide, which makes black carbon the single most important cause of climate change. Wood burning also releases carbon dioxide back into the air, thus contributing roughly half the amount of warming as black carbon. Annually, Uganda earns approximately 3 trillion shillings from wood fuel. Of this, charcoal contributes up to 2 trillion, while fuel wood contributes up to 1 trillion on an annual basis. The 2019 wood fuels research by World Bank further indicates that wood fuel demand in Uganda as of 2019 was estimated to comprise 37.6 metric tons of fuel wood, 2.3 metric tons of charcoal, and 2.7 metric tons of agricultural and forest residues. This wood fuel demand is expected to more than double by 2040. This means more trees will be cut, thus a reduction in carbon sinks. Now here is the question that remains unanswered. Whereas the developed nations are in the spotlight for greenhouse gas emissions, especially from industries and motor vehicles, developing nations like Uganda are receiving used cars from developed countries, cutting more trees and burning more wood for charcoal and firewood. But then, why is it that greenhouse gases from firewood, which are the second leading contributor of global warming, aren't a priority now? Is it because this is a problem of the developing nations, or is it just a ticking time bomb? Is firewood a silent killer? A killer of nature and human health, but a killer governments have decided to live with? This branch has perhaps been in existence for up to 10 years, absorbing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Now, in just a second, the burning of this produces black carbon, which causes global warming. Additionally, burning this wood produces carbon dioxide, which also causes climate change. Now, 10 years of planting a tree, grooming it, has just gone to waste with this burning. Nabasa Innocent, Power TV News.